What's up? What's up? Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Daily Smoke on our Monday episode. We hope everyone is doing well out there. We're your hosts this evening. My name is Brother Ron.
Brother Los.
Brother Jam.
We got Brother Black Hands with us. And before we get into the show, we got to pay a couple of bills first and give some information out there that we think you all would really, really like. First and foremost, we want to give a shout out to one of our main sponsors, Bangin' 832 Radio. Bangin' 832 Radio is a grassroots Houston-based radio station that promotes a lot of Houston underground talent or up-and-coming talent. So if you all can really support them, that we would greatly appreciate it. And as a result of that, they're so committed to Houston talent that we also have our program aired there every Sunday at 7 p.m. So please visit bangin832.com. Listen to the music they present, and also go to their podcast section, their media section, and there you'll find. So we hope you all support them as well.
I think they got a podcast where the girl's actually playing music at the same time.
Oh,
you
really?
See her, talk to her. There's always somebody there with her.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I want to say that because you can see her. You
Yeah.
actually see her with the things on, banging in the background, and it's always somebody with her. And I think they talk about some shit, she plays some jam.
That's
talk
cool.
about so
Keep it
pretty
interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
Or you can just go to the main radio station and click that and just listen to what's playing.
That's
like
what's
a regular
up,
radio
man.
station, commercial, all kind of different shit. It's pretty cool.
They also aired our commercial, man. And Michael McQuarrie, big ups to you, man, over
Yes,
at
sir.
832 Radio, Michael McQuarrie. Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks,
We've been
brother.
getting some positive
Appreciate
feedback.
That's right. And hopefully we've been helping you, man. And
Absolutely.
like we're telling everybody, go check that out.
Please do.
Another one of our sponsors we're proud to be in partnership with is Tamia's Touch of Care. Tamia Anderson was one of our previous guests that we met through. Thank you so much. We're forever indebted to Miss Vanessa Bowling.
Yes, no.
We're so indebted to her for so many.
I mean, hey, dude, let's be real for a second. We got some bad sisters that hang out with us.
We do, man. We got
we got
women,
some,
man.
we have drawn to us, in a sense, a collection of some really amazing women.
Agreed, man. And you know what? It's funny you say that because Tamia's, she's a massage therapist. And one of the things that she says as a motto for her company is to get with life, get a massage.
Right.
So I can understand that 100%. So Tamia, we're hoping that we can generate more traffic and revenue for you, through your website as well. So please visit Tamia's Touch of Care Massage Therapy. And lastly, this is an announcement from one of our other affiliates, the South Park Coalition, K. Reno and them brothers.
South Park?
Absolutely. They are
Reno Murder One.
Absolutely. They are having their 35th anniversary concert. And it's going to be on September 10th.
Yeah.
And it's going to be 307 Egret Bay Boulevard, EGRET. Bay. Time is going to be 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. on that day. So please, if you're in the greater Houston area, visit in Houston during that time. Show your love for the South Park Coalition.
Trying to tell you.
Go out there and meet the legends of our hometown, our heroes.
You're going to be in for a damn good show.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Meet our heroes. That's what I'm talking about. Meet our heroes.
Yes, and if you are a follower of us, you know about Eventbrite already.
Exactly.
Right.
You
We've been telling you to go there for the
should.
Coochie Chocolates, so hey.
Absolutely. You
know,
should.
and if we do something, y'all better go there.
Absolutely, man.
Yes.
So we got that out the way. How you brothers doing, man?
I'm good. It's Monday, burning up.
Welcome to Houston.
Fucking hot. Fucking
I look like you're having a hard time over there.
You can see in the background back there. You got a fan on us. Fuck that. I don't care if y'all got that fan back there or not.
I don't know about y'all, man. I'm already ready for summer to be over with. I'm done. Yeah, okay, we had summer fun. Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready for it to be at least fall again. Damn.
It's been summer since April. That's why I'm tired.
Jesus.
This is our third month of summer. Super hot
crazy.
summer. And
we
August ain't here yet.
Look, and we still got 2 more to go.
I'm down with that. I'm good with this. I'm good, man. Once we got through those last heat waves on last week, man, I'm good now. I'm good. I feel good.
We
Man.
might come
Got
back.
no issues.
It
I
was
hope
like
not.
106 today. It was
Was
like
it?
98 feels like 106.
I'm liking it, man. I'm straight. I ain't even sweating, man.
I saw on the news this morning, I think they said the actual temperature was supposed to get
Like 112, 120 and shit like that.
yeah,
what
so
it
the
is.
heat index probably was hitting around 110, 115, somewhere around there at the height. So no, man, I'm so it's no secret, you my size and you go out in this heat, you are drenched in sweat in
Yeah.
a matter of minutes. It don't matter how cool your outfit is. It don't matter how together you got yourself. Because the minute you hit that humid ass hot air,
Mm-hmm.
you
done,
just
huh?
drenched, man. Your look is out the window,
Right, and I'm a medium-sized nigga, and that shit still holds true.
right?
And he's a small nigga, and that shit still holds true.
Oh, you ain't seen me without my shirt.
You know? And he's extra small nigga, and it still holds true. It don't matter.
God
It be
damn.
hot. Like,
I'm like,
man.
okay. I'm just, I think that's my main thing. I think I'm tired of sweat.
I feel you.
If I could be in the heat and not sweat, I'd be happy.
You know why I like the winter time more than the summertime? Because I can dress better.
See, okay.
I like the way I dress in the winter.
And see, I'm a lover of like jackets and all that kind of stuff. But I'm hot natured, so for me it has to get real cold for me to be able to put on a jacket and be comfortable, or put on a sweater and be comfortable.
Right.
So I'm like, man, but I like the way I look in that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, give me the cold. Dress like I want to dress.
Right.
I always dressed that way. I remember in Germany one year, I wore a windbreaker all year long.
Yeah.
Even in the summertime at night, it was not that hot. You had to have something, or at least have something in your bag or something. In Pittsburgh, you better have summer shit, winter shit, and fall shit all in your bag. Because that shit, you'll go to work, it'd be hot as fuck. You come out, it's cold as hell. You better have a coat ready for you.
Yeah, I was going to address that. Yes, if you didn't get the information we sent regarding South Park Coalition, just go to our website. And once you go to partners and affiliates, click South Park Coalition. It'll take you directly to their website and the information we presented, because there was some buffering going on. Thank you so much, George Thornton West, for that information. There was some buffering going on. So if you didn't hear that, just go to our website, click South Park Coalition. Their picture of K Reno and the entire coalition family is there. It'll take you directly to their website, and you can get the information regarding the 35th anniversary concert coming up on September the 10th, I believe.
Even better, don't turn away, and at the end, you'll hear it again.
Absolutely.
We're going to mention it again.
Absolutely.
So don't go nowhere.
Absolutely.
Stay right here with
Stay
us.
with us. Absolutely.
We got to do the, what is it? Our website?
Yeah, website. Our cash app is, can you put that up one more time, or do you remember?
$ TD Smoke.
Got you. Okay. All righty.
Matter of fact, we got a donation today.
Oh, yeah.
From one of our own. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you,
man. I don't just put my money in don't just put my energy into this, man. I'm all in.
It's a beautiful cause,
You
man.
can change what you're going to say. You don't put all your money into the weed. You put the cause.
Hey, dude, I actually need to restock it. I'm putting that on hold to make that donation. So I got you.
Man, before we went on the air, Lowe's was telling us some very interesting information that's slowly coming out of Las Vegas. You can expound on it, bro?
No, yeah, a client of mine, they were in Vegas. This happened on Friday.
Okay.
So I think we're hearing about it now, but they were there, and some shooting at the Caesars and some shooting over at the Bellagio. And the lady's like, she said, I go hunting. I know gunshots. Those were gunshots. But as she kept digging down the rabbit hole, what's going on, whatever, she also found out that on Friday, Vegas was under a gag order. Media, everybody was not allowed to mention this shit. But people, I think, were, and they may have blocked that shit out, because I didn't see that for her.
Really?
But it's something I'm like, what do you mean a gag order? Because I heard about the little plane that crashed. Because when Amy said some plane crashed in Vegas, I hurried up and looked like, man, let me make sure
that was the first person I thought.
What time did this lady get? And then I thought, okay, no, the lady, she, my client, she flies out later tonight, so what may happen is she'll get delayed, but she did get somewhat delayed. Mm-hmm. But then today she was telling me, yeah, man, we got to go. She said it was the craziest time this time up in Vegas. We did this. I'm like, really? And then when she said that part, I'm like, hold up, how are they holding that back? I don't understand.
So wait,
that's taking away some freedom of speech.
So wait, that's what I'm trying to understand. So the city of Las Vegas was under a gag order.
Yes.
When nobody was allowed to report on.
None of that happened. And then today, when we were talking about it, Amy said she finally saw something, and it mentioned that the police were saying that it was not a shooting, it was just some other stuff that caused this mass hysteria.
Everybody lying.
But the lady saying, I know those were gunshots. I know gunshots. I hunt. So I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm like, that's crazy to find that out, man. But that, infringes on, that's our,
I could see why they would put the city
under
gag
money.
order. I understand that. But you're not going to do that at the expense of making me look irrational.
Right.
You're not gonna tell me that that's not what happened. If I heard gunshots, you're not gonna tell me that I didn't hear gunshots.
Or people that were right by the gun.
You know what I mean?
Like,
I don't think so.
I
You
know.
playing my
Matter
sanity.
of fact, I saw the dude shoot.
You know what I mean?
How do I shut that up?
You gonna gag that. Now you're gonna mess up my sanity. So what happened isn't what happened.
Right.
No,
That's
please.
crazy.
No.
Yeah,
no,
to them
no.
it's like, shoot, this is money. We can't have people not come up here.
No.
You know?
Trump didn't invent fake news. It existed well before
Always
him.
say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It
During
existed
World War
well
II.
before him.
Yellow
He just called it out, and he called it out in a lot of cases falsely, but he made it, a bigger thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think
People
about
that
it,
master putting out fake shit.
but if you think about it, what are most of the major news networks? They're owned by corporations. These same multinational corporations who run a lot of other businesses. When you start looking into the money behind, like a lot of CNN and MSNBC and stuff like that, even Fox, when you look into the money behind it, there's political motivations behind all the money behind all the places we get our news.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because you do know that the majority of the news entities out there are liberal
By definition, yeah.
by the information they put out.
Right, I understand that.
Okay. All right.
But again, as we'll talk about later on, the definition of liberal,
You watch Fox?
somewhat,
I
yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah.
Right.
Same shit. It's just backwards. That's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
see.
Right.
It's
the
just
same shit.
It's the
just
same
backwards.
propaganda. Yeah, it's the flip side of the other coin.
You know what I learned that the most when Obama was running? I would watch CNN. Boys, Obama was whooping ass.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Fox.
Totally different story.
This nigga ain't winning shit. Come
Right.
back here. And I start thinking, I'm like, this is crazy.
Right.
It's the same shit, just backwards. Like,
But
so
see-
if I'm watching Fox, I'm thinking, I can see why they would do that bullshit.
And-
Wait, they told me that he won. What do you mean this guy won?
And I think what a lot of us came to that realization around that same time because it was like that for me too. I
It
would
was
see
funny.
somebody over here talking about Obama and somebody talking about the exact same scenario talking about Obama, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? And then you pay attention and you start realizing, okay, the truth lies somewhere in the middle, but you have to kind of keep an eye on both sides to be able to filter that out.
That was the networks.
Yeah.
But they had it. They had people that were with Fox, people with CNN, so you heard both of them.
But
at
it
the same
shows
time.
you, I guarantee you, now I don't know this for sure, I'm just going out there, I'm making a speculation, but
Right.
I'm fairly certain of the speculation. I am certain that NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, all of their stories had more congruency, and Breitbart and Fox News had more congruency.
Right.
And that's where the opposition was.
Right.
And that's why I say most of the media outlets are, by definition, if you want to say, in terms of how we understand liberalism in this country, they are liberal. They are more Democrat rather than conservative or Republican, which I learned from a conservative. Blew my mind. I didn't know that. I didn't realize they were under such assault within media. I did not know. That's great.
Well, anyway, speaking of those words, we're going to get into our subject today. It's Words Have Meaning Part 3.
Thank you, John.
This was, brother brought the comment, the topic to us. We had two, I don't remember the words we talked about before.
Oh, we've talked about quite a few.
Oh,
We talked
Lord.
I know the
about
ones.
capitalism, communism,
Oh, Lord.
Socialism.
socialism,
Treason, sedition.
progressive. I remember was one
Yeah.
of them too. We did
Yeah.
talk about progressive,
Yeah.
no, I said socialism. I think that covers it.
Right.
But it's been it's been some interesting conversations, and I hope if y'all didn't get the chance to see those previous episodes, please go back and take a look at them. They're all clearly labeled parts 1, 2, and 3. When you look back over our list, so please go check them out. But hopefully they might help you understand, and the conversations that we have around these definitions really do help us understand better, a lot clearer what we mean when we talk about these things, not just to ourselves, but when we're talking to y'all, so we make sure we're portraying to y'all the correct information as best we understand it.
Right.
What three terms are we covering today?
Well, I'm going to start it off with the one y'all were just talking about, liberal.
But what three are we covering?
I would call liberal, insurrection, and conservative.
Okay.
And those are the three. So we'll start it off. Was that?
I was just gonna say that's why the conversation that we wound up having right there was real.
Right. Absolutely.
It goes,
Pertinent.
hey, that's what we do. We keep them interested. But we're going to start off with liberal, and then I got the When did it become the Merriam-Webster? It's always been the Webster
I
dictionary.
know, huh?
And all
Guess
of a
Merriam
sudden
bought
it's
'em out.
Merriam. Is that what it is?
I don't know. I
Or
don't
is it,
know.
you know, because first of all, Webster, okay, so I'm dude nuts know good words. That's why
Right.
they named it after his ass.
Right.
This Merriam knows better words. They threw
Maybe.
his ass in there.
Maybe.
But anyways, that the liberal as a noun, it's a definition of liberal, and this is the second part of the entry that they have. The first part really doesn't go with what we're talking about. But this one, the second definition, the other one was an adjective, so it's a little bit different. The word liberal as a noun, and again, it's a definition of liberal as part entry, is a person who is liberal, such as one who is open-minded or not strict in the observance of, what was that? Orthodox, traditional, and established forms of ways, capitalized, a member or supporter of a liberal political party, an advocate or adherent of liberalism, especially in individual rights. Then there's synonyms, synonyms,
Synonyms.
and synonyms,
Cinnamon.
and right, synonyms and autosynonyms, whatever the fuck that is. And it's and as an adjective is broad-minded, non-conversational, non-orthodox, non-traditional, open-minded, progressive, radical, unconventional, and orthodox. And that's some of the words that how they break it down.
Okay.
So if you were to look this word up, this is what it means as the word means
The
this.
standard definition.
That's the standard definition of what it means. Now, if we're going to talk about it in the first sense of why we hear it so much in our media today is because it's political. That's where we're headed. That's right. And then, I'll let you go from there.
John, you got it, man.
John,
What was your
Well,
understanding?
okay. So I was kind of looking around and I came up with a definition for the term liberalism,
Okay.
which I think was more pertinent in the, like you were saying, in the realm that we're talking about, like in a political sense.
Okay.
So liberalism is a political and moral philosophy based on the rights of the individual, liberty, consent of the governed, and equality before the law. Liberals espouse a wide array of views depending on their understanding of these principles, but they generally support individual rights, including civil rights, economic and political freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, private property, and a market economy.
Is that what they wrote about what we're supposed to be?
Well,
It sounds like what we're supposed to be as a country anyways.
well, we'll get to that when we discuss conservatism, because that would be the opposite of it, I guess.
Because, and it's like so many other things when you're dealing with politics, there's the ideal of a thing, and then there's the practice of a thing. So people right now, we use the term liberal to mean really something that's not what liberalism is in practice.
Okay.
The idea of a liberal, like we just discussed, going through that definition, really
I'm sorry.
no, it's not your fault. But it really makes you want to understand, or makes you realize that the way that liberalism is actually practiced is not what's going on, or what's being labeled as liberalism. It is not what that definition was talking about. Because what we really have right now in those positions are people who would fall under the definition of something called a centrist.
Okay.
Okay. They're not really interested. They're interested in liberal ideas as a label.
Okay.
But when you look at the voting records of a lot of these politicians, when you look at the laws that they push for and actually pass, when you go through those kind of backgrounds, you realize they're not voting in a liberal way. They're voting in a conservative way. So they're calling themselves liberal, but they're really looking out for business interests, and that's where the conservative aspect comes in. You have a lot of Democrats who are quote unquote liberals, but when you look at their voting records, a lot of times they're voting with the Republicans on different things. And in some cases, I'm not saying that that's nefarious necessarily or anything. It just makes you have to look at the situation and go, okay, well, why did you vote this way? And a lot of times when you look at it, it's the money behind it. It's
So
not
then
because
the
of it.
liberals Do we have any true liberals?
Very few,
Really?
very few. And those get labeled in our current politics, they get labeled as progressive.
Okay, gotcha.
That word too, though.
Yeah, we covered that one.
I wanna present what I found on this, and I think it feeds into what both of you were saying.
Mhm.
We'll start with the working definitions, and then I'll go to some of this is the historical background of it, and maybe that'll give us a little bit more context on what we're dealing with today in terms of American politics. It says favorable to progress and or reform, in accord with concepts of maximum individual freedom as possible, equally as guaranteed by law and secured by government protection of civil liberties, willing to accept and respect behavior or opinions different from one's own, open to new ideas. Liberalism sought to replace the norms of hereditary privilege, state religion, absolute monarchy, divine right of kings, ended mercantilism to promote free trade and marketization. It was founded primarily by John Locke. He's like the godfather of liberalism, if you will. And he's the one that developed the social contract, arguing each man has a natural right to life, liberty, property, and governments must not violate those rights. These definitions and those working frameworks came about during the age of the Enlightenment. Let's take the conversation from there. That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What does it sound like?
Nowadays, that'd be considered a progressive.
Okay. Where have you heard those words before? Like what it protects and what John Locke was saying it ensures?
It sounds like what's in the Constitution.
Absolutely.
That's what I said. It sounds like we're supposed to be anyways.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, interesting enough, it came after the age of the Enlightenment. Do you know why the liberal definition as we all provided? Do you know why that was appealing to the founding fathers of the country?
Thinking about like when they came out from under English rule, you had, of course, an absolute monarchy there. You had no real say-so because the king had final word on everything.
Absolutely.
And in order to convince, at least, and this is my opinion about it, the way I understand how history went down, in order to convince these wealthy landowners at that time to back this rebellion, you can't, say, yeah, help me rebel against the crown. There's got to be something in it for them too. And so, no, okay, you help me. Okay, you're gonna get a place in the new government we form.
Right.
So you have a position of power. You got to offer them something. So,
And not even that, just to tell me, okay, if I help you, you can't fuck with me. The government, I can do what the fuck I want. The government can't take none of this away from me.
True.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll help you. All right, but remember what you said.
Right.
I want that shit in writing.
Right.
No, and they gave it to him in writing.
Exactly. They made it.
I want that shit in writing.
Here you go, guys. You know, we all know who they voted for, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah, of course.
it's that's when he was saying, I'm thinking, we're supposed to be now anyway. Isn't that what they wrote?
Absolutely.
I said, we're supposed to be liberal anyway.
So the tenets of the Constitution have a liberal slant, if you will, if we follow what John Locke wrote regarding what liberalism is, or what to be liberal is. But it hasn't played out that way. To your point, it hasn't played out that way. What's so interesting about those definitions, I don't think anyone in this room is in too much disagreement with those definitions.
Yeah.
I think those definitions also, for the most part, sums up the perspective and orientation of the Democratic story.
Right.
But in terms of how we posit Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative, I think those are way more applicable towards the Democratic slant than the conservative slant, the Republican slant. Am I right or wrong in that assessment?
No, I would agree with that.
So now, when you understand the definitions and the cornerstone of liberalism, does it surprise you that conservatives were the ones that had the most push? does it now surprise you that they vote or think certain ways? Because the liberal perspective is open-minded, open to change.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Non-traditional, unorthodox.
We do things different.
You understand what I'm saying?
Let's try that.
So if the person is going to debate if they support certain, I guess, laws or positions in government, all you need to ask them really is, okay, if you support a certain, piece of legislature, are you a liberal, or are you a conservative? You do. What I found, and I may be wrong, but what I found was I see where, out of my own ignorance, I was attributing some of those ideas to conservatives. I didn't know that liberalism is what gave us the economic model that we have now. I always thought that was the conservatives, but it's not.
No.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that because I didn't know. To me, just let's think. Let's debate this. Wouldn't it seem more logical that a liberal would be for mercantilism instead of the free market? You would think.
But again, they want to do things
I don't
orthodox.
I don't understand.
Think out the box. Maybe they just figured, fuck it, let's try something different. Yeah.
But again, you're looking at a situation where at the founding of this country, you're trying to create opportunities for people to get wealthy.
Okay.
That's what's going to attract folks to your country.
Okay.
You're building a country that's going to be based on immigrants. There's the only Native Americans they were in the process of pushing out of their land.
Okay.
So, the only place you're going to get more numbers, because you can't have that many kids, is more immigrants. So you got to make the place attractive.
Okay.
A capitalist system is going to make sure that even at that time, that a regular person could rise to a wealthy status if they were, productive or industrious or inventive, whatever they might, whatever talents or skills they might be able to put forth in the market. Fucking robber baron, back in the day. So you could literally dominate a field if you were, or an area, a territory about a certain commodity or something like that. So you had to create those opportunities. And so I think in them looking forward, thinking about trying to build a country, it does make sense in that context.
Interesting. That's an excellent.
That's not going to work because I keep it.
And you work hard, you got the chance to build your fortune.
Very interesting.
For them to change,
You ain't got to be a lowly serf over here like you are over here for the rest of your life. Come on.
So liberals are for government intervention into the market or not? Like what happened during Obama's, I think, first presidency, when we had to bail out the banks that would have it too big to fail. It was for.
Okay, are we talking about like what we've been discussing as far as like a traditional liberal? Or are we talking about what we actually have in office?
What we have in office.
What we have in office. They're for it.
Because of the conservative slant.
Because of the money slant. These are the same corporations that are funding their campaign. They're not going to let them fail because those corporations, if those corporations fail, then a lot of these Congress people on both sides of the aisle are invested in the stock market. Insider information, because you're passing the laws that govern these corporations.
Right.
But a conservative slant, unless you consider the business standpoint a conservative slant, because business doesn't want anything to change.
Mm-hmm.
So business wants to keep doing business as usual. Mm-hmm. And if there's a way that they can maximize some profit in that by throwing a little money at politicians' way, that's what they're going to do.
So they're for government intervention. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. That makes sense. When you was looking up, because I know.
Not on nothing else.
Huh?
But not on nothing else.
What do you mean?
We don't want the government fucking with us anywhere else. You can
liberals won't mind.
I guess not.
I mean, think about it.
But I'm saying in what you were saying with that, with the bureau,
Uh-huh.
no government intervention and none of my rights and what I can be as a human and the way I can live and do what I want to do. But when it comes to the money, that's okay. You can.
Of course, well, like it almost seems like the liberal attitude or the liberal tradition has been more for. It gives more allowance for the government to change as necessary to fit whatever needs that are arising in society at that time. Case in point, uh, equal rights for the gay, lesbian, gay, transgender, queer community, African Americans or minorities, women, that kind of stuff. It seems like the liberal, according to the definition, it seems like that the liberal is more favorable towards that type of progressive thinking. Okay. See, when I read that and I thought I understood it, what that did inherently was like just the language they used, it demonized conservative because it says open-minded. And if the conservative is opposite the liberal, that means they're closed-minded, even in the language that I found, I didn't think was fair, but okay, so be it. Well,
You better go somewhere else, son.
hey man, we're in America, man.
Yeah,
we're
ain't
in
nothing
America.
fair in America.
We're in America. We're in America.
The
man.
least fair place in the world.
Yeah, we're in
You know,
America.
When what is it? The average CEO now makes 300 times what their employees make.
It's my company.
Like,
make all
But you're not for that as a liberal?
No, that's too much. It's too much of a gap.
You're a communist, John. Aren't you?
You just not figuring that out.
You're a communist. That's so sad. That's so sad.
You get that
You know what
song.
they say a communist is? A liberal that hasn't been robbed yet. They just ain't been robbed yet. That's all. That's all. But yeah, I'm picking with you.
So, do we want to get into conservative now?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm
what
going to go
waiting
with
on.
for the next word.
That's what
The
I'm
next
waiting
word
on.
is conservative.
Okay.
Bring it to it.
And what I got in that Merriam-Webster is under noun,
Let it
different, conversationalism,
Okay. Conservatism.
conservatism. And a conservative is a member or a supporter of a conservative political party. 2A is one who adheres to traditional methods of views, be a cautious or discreet person. And then some of those cinnamon toast crunches and the
Right on.
acronyms. Some of those as an objective is brass bound, button down, die hard, hard bound, moss backed, old fashioned, old time, old school, orthodox. This is pretty much opposite of what we just from the other ones that they do. So but that's pretty much what the definition. Boom.
Okay.
That's the definition. Now from there, we take it to a whole lot of different places.
Let's listen to Yvonne Lennon for a minute.
Yvonne Lennon, Karl Marx. You look like Karl Marx.
Absolutely. That's our resident Karl Marx.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
Karl Marx, bro.
All right.
It's Karl Marx, bro.
All right.
Karl Marx, bro.
So, okay, I looked up conservatism, and it says it is a cultural, social, and political philosophy that seeks to promote and to preserve traditional social institutions and practices. The central tenets of conservatism may vary in relation to the status quo of the culture and civilization in which it appears. And that did make me think of one thing that I did want to make sure people understood when we defining these terms. One of the things that I hope people do understand is we're defining these terms in terms of American politics. Now, in a different country, in a different context, conservative and liberal can mean two very different things. If you say in one of these countries where it says Muslim, a conservative in a Muslim country could be something completely different from a conservative in the United States. But now what's interesting is they do share some traits. Yeah, those same traditional wanting to go back to traditional ways, wanting to do things the way it's always been done. Well, if I did it that way, why can't you do it that way? That kind of mentality is like hallmark of conservative, no matter where you are. It's just interesting to me that they kind of get in my thinking. It's almost like they get stuck in the past.
I feel that. I received that sentiment also.
Yeah,
I feel that. I want to piggyback on something that you had said. So let's go back to liberalism for a minute. And the only reason I'm going to say this is because we have to make sure that you understood what we said when we was explaining liberalism. When we were giving definitions of liberalism, think of that as the basic diving board that everyone jumps off of into the pool. Now, the pool can exist of varying different interpretations of what liberalism would look like in their country. But the basic tenets of liberalism don't change.
Right.
So respect for the individual has a right to prosperity, property, life, those kind of things. They should have those rights protected by the government. That doesn't change regardless of whatever country you may go to. And there's a liberal representing liberalism. But the way liberalism will play out can look vastly different from what you're looking at in your country, the way it plays out. So when they talk about liberalism, they're really talking about more of a philosophy. The interesting part about conservatism is conservatism was more, I know they said philosophy in the dictionary, but it's really more of an attitude. Here we go.
Before you go on
Sure,
with
bro.
that,
Yes,
what he was
yes.
saying when he said how Muslim does this and over here it does this, but they started with what I just said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Main definition
Exactly.
still hold true.
Exactly.
We're just doing them.
Exactly.
Our orthodox is this.
Exactly.
Your orthodox is that.
Exactly.
But, you know,
Exactly.
but it's still orthodox.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So it's like
Exactly.
so they still play on that the
Exactly.
actual definition of it. They just interpret it a
You're
different way.
absolutely correct. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Conservatism, it comes from a return to traditional values. For example, you would never see, you shouldn't really see in terms of conservatism, you shouldn't see, if I may pick on religion for a minute, you probably wouldn't find a, what do they call it, non-denominational activists in that religion, and they're fundamentalists. The two are incompatible. You can't be both. If you're going to be non-denominational, you by definition are not conservative because your way of thinking is
not.
progressive.
Right.
Right.
You follow me?
Not orthodox. Not
But
the way
if you
it's
want to
supposed
say, if you want to have a religious zealot that come out of Christianity, and they say, hey, we need to go back to the Catholic Church, now you're looking at conservatism.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like a return to the days of former, if you will, which is an attitude. It's an attitude, not a philosophy. If I may, conservatives favor institutional practices that guarantee stability, and those practices evolve gradually. The values of conservatism is related to the context in which it is found, to your point.
Yeah.
So whatever society you may find a conservative, they're going to have those same traditional values, but the values themselves may not look anything like anywhere else.
totally different.
Okay. Conservatives occupy, and I found this interesting. Conservatives occupy the political spectrum between liberalism and fascism. Isn't that interesting? Like, that's why I never understood when I would hear my professor say, hey man, our political system of Republicans and Democrats, they're really variations on a theme. And they're really more alike than they are dissimilar.
Right.
You know? And I was like, oh, so now we splitting hairs. I get it now. I get it now. This guy named Michael Oakeshott, he described conservatism as this. You prefer the familiar to the unknown. You prefer the fact to the mystery. And what you're doing is you're giving votes to the dead. This highlights the strong correlation of how tradition shapes identity. Conservatism is closer to an attitude than it is a philosophy. Case in point, Thomas Hobbes, who you could say was probably one of the forefathers of conservatism. Like, you know, we had John Locke and we had Hobbes. That's who Hobbes argued. See, now we're talking about what he believes in terms of man,
Okay.
what the nature of man is. He's saying the state of nature for humans is poor, nasty, brutish, and short, requiring centralized authority. Okay, that's a hell of a statement. Let's say it again. Think about it. And if you want to call in and contribute to this conversation,
Please
the
do.
number's at the bottom of the screen. Please call in. We would love to have your input on this.
or if you're a conservative or a liberal. All
Absolutely.
in.
Absolutely. And if we got something wrong or you have a different position, give us a call. We are more than welcome. We would love to hear from you. Hobbes says that the nature of man is poor, nasty, brutish, and short. What do you all think regarding that perspective on the nature of man?
Don't they not want that?
That's somebody. No, that's somebody who sees that as the the um.
If you can, please try to call in again. We apologize if we're having issues. We apologize.
But
The state of man, the nature of man.
that's somebody who has, first of all, very little faith in the human race as a whole. But that's somebody who I guarantee you doesn't view himself as a part of that brutish, short-lived, whatever, populace that he's describing. I'm sure he considers himself to be a cut above. That's that supremacy attitude. Yeah, these dudes are they're basically fodder for whatever I want to use them for. So, okay, if it takes a strong hand to be able to use them the way that I see is most beneficial, then I'm down with that. Let's do it. Let's get that authority in the government so we can say what you can and can't do.
Can you point to a period in history that proved them otherwise?
That
Prove Thomas Hobbes' point that man is nasty, brutish, and requiring centralized authority. Can you point to a period in history where that didn't apply?
Not right off the top of my head. No.
Right.
You're right.
Because you understand he's talking about people in mass.
Right.
He's not talking about the individual in and of themselves. He's talking about people in mass. We're sorry it keeps going to voicemail. Can we give them a call back and then put them through or something? Or?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any calls coming through.
No, I couldn't.
Okay. I'll give you the number to call, man. Here we go. I'm gonna give you the call number right now. We're going to call you right now, Joyce Horton West, so that way we can get your input on this discussion. Thank you all so much for tuning in to us this evening. I don't know what's going on.
It's we need somebody to watch us. We's nasty. We's brutish. And all we know how to
Hi,
do is
this is Joy.
Oh, it's going to your voicemail now. Come ahead and try to call it back.
Okay.
Okay, we're trying to call you now. Please don't try to call us. We're going to call you. No, why you doing that? It's almost like his assessment of the nature of man is kind of like original sin.
Hi, this
within
is
the religious
Joy.
sector.
Sorry.
There we go. She's calling in now.
It's almost like he knows.
We have to accept it by hitting them.
Hi, this is Joy.
It's almost like
Three-way now.
It's like almost like what? I can't do this. I was thinking of individuals. We're going to be mass.
In groups.
And in mass, we need this shit. We got to be this way because we don't know how to act.
There we go.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear us?
Yeah, finally. Can y'all hear me?
We can indeed.
Yes, we
Thank
can.
you for trying to call in.
No, I'm not trying to call. I'm trying to turn my yeah, can you hear me?
Can you lower the volume in the back?
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm gonna have to
Hold yourself on the TV mode.
give me a second.
There's his chicken already.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
We
Yes,
can.
man.
Yes.
Okay. What? Hold on. Where did we get?
I'm
Where
sorry.
did?
There's a lot of noise in the background. We can't hear you that well. I'm sorry.
What about now? I had to turn the TV to another, something.
Okay, we
Okay,
can.
that's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you just keep going to your voicemail. But here's the deal. I always thought that I was a conservative. I thought I was a conservative Democrat. But when when Ron and I talked about this, and he told me really that I thought more like a Republican because of my liberal ideas, I began to, kind of toss over in my mind, what did I really represent? Who did I really represent? And now, as I listen to you guys, um, I'm not really sure what I am because if based on the definitions that you guys have given. So I was trying to see where did they somehow or another implant those ideas in our head for me to feel that way or to think that way. Am I making sense?
Making perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up. Y'all hang me up so I can hear your answer.
Absolutely. Thank
Okay,
you so much
thank
for
you.
calling in.
Okay, I'm enjoying the show. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
She saying that she thought she was a certain way,
Mhm.
but then when you
As we're
looked up
defining
there,
it,
you realize, well, if you're this, and that, this is how that person is. If you're this, and this, you think this way, but you can't think. I
So,
guess you can be on both sides for a little bit, shit.
so it's working like this. First and foremost, we have to understand the context in which we're talking. And Los, you and the baby boomers are closer in age and values than the Gen Xers. All right?
Right.
All right. The baby boomers and before were primarily conservative.
Right.
Okay, not Republican, but conservative. Okay.
They're just before them.
And if you look at the bills that or the laws or legislature that most black people that are baby boomers and before, if you look at the values that they hold, they're anti-abortion, they're anti-LGBT in terms of being able to get married. Okay. They also are, depending on which side of the line they fall, they are not as interested in government intervention into the affairs of your everyday life. That's why a lot of single black mothers in particular never accepted or filed for child support. Because remember they used to say back in the day, I want that white man in my business.
Right.
It's the same thing.
yeah.
Okay. That by definition, the way that you see the world, I'm sorry, this society, and the laws you would support, legislation you would support, you're Republican. If you look at the individuals born after that, they have a more liberal or a more progressive stance
Some of
on
those
those same exact issues,
some of
which
the
are
later-
totally opposite.
baby boomers were part of those 70s that tried to make those changes.
70s, 60s really even before.
And then from there on,
Yeah.
that's when my generation comes in, and we started to think more. Because Obama's in my section, generation X.
So you're the outlier.
We're the ones that
You're the outlier.
From what that came,
Primarily, you're
we
the
started, I guess, the liberal shit.
Yeah, you're the outlier. Absolutely.
Started to see stuff a different way, like, oh, you know, fuck it,
Absolutely.
do whatever.
You're the
Well,
outlier.
they tax, we don't care.
But I want to get back to this conservative thing because that's very important. Do you all understand the role that tradition plays in your everyday identity?
Yeah.
How would you be able to function if every day someone uprooted your tradition? How would you be affected?
They don't fuck with you. It would take you a while to get used to that shit.
It'd be hard because tradition, we build our lives around routines and patterns. That's the human way of thinking. So that's how we organize our lives, our day, our world, by these patterns. And repetitive actions are some of the easiest things for us to do. So doing something the way it's always been done, just because that's how it's always been done, it's very easy to fall into. It's natural in a way for humans to do it that way. But as a race, talk about the human race, we also know that we have to move forward. And time has shown us time. The thing about it is that the conservative argument, though, unfortunately, although I understand it, it always loses because time always moves on.
That's true.
Progress always happens. The conservative ideals may sometimes slow down that progress, hold it back, or whatever the case may be, but the progress always happens in one form or another. You know, you might hold off on LGBTQ marriages right now. Sure, you might get abortions banned, but far enough down the line, it'll come right back. You know, and those
Conservatives would not argue with you on
yeah,
that.
and
They would not argue at all in terms of in terms of change occurring.
Right.
They don't have a problem. Look, we make sure we understand. Conservatives do not have a problem with change. They do not have a problem with evolution. They have a problem with the rate of change, and
Right.
that's why they believe. Because that's why I asked the question: if I was to uproot your traditions every day, now I'm messing with your identity.
Right.
Because we are creatures of change. And the conservative argument is if you take away the tradition, then what happens is you're now starting to make our nation state an unstable platform. Because if you keep changing things as they come over and over and over, then what's going to happen is you're going to lose your identity for the sake of progress. But that's their motto.
right, right. But on the other side of that coin, though, is that you can create problems for yourselves by not progressing when you
Absolutely.
should progress.
Absolutely.
So that's the dichotomy of it.
Absolutely.
Is you have to have, and but that's the unfortunate part about progress
Mhm.
is that you can't always control how fast that happens.
Right.
Sometimes you have errors. We can look back in history, you know, the Industrial Revolution and how fast things went from being, you know, agricultural to, you know, urban,
Mhm.
you know, just in the way that factories came up and all of this. We've seen it before. So we know sometimes change can just happen like that,
Right.
you know, and in the technology age that we're living in,
It's moving
the rate of
fast.
change, how that's happening, stuff is going to be progressing very quickly.
It's moving
I mean,
fast.
and unfortunately, I feel in a very real sense, I feel bad for people who do have that conservative attitude because you're in for an unenjoyable ride for the next like 30 to 40 years because there's going to be, as we've seen just in the last 2 years, the rate of change of how the world can change overnight. That's what used to take like months and years for like a worldwide change to happen. We can now see that happen in real time in 24 hours.
And how stable are we as a nation?
Oh, we are not stable.
I'm glad you said that.
Oh,
Because it says liberal conservatism is it incorporates classical liberal views of minimal government intervention in the economy, but believe a strong state is necessary to ensure law and order are needed to nurture a sense of duty to the nation. In other words, that's the foundation of patriotism and tradition. They're saying, hey man, if we move too fast, the first thing that's going to go is patriotism. And the moment patriotism goes out the window, your society is now going to crumble.
That's what you see over in Europe in some of those countries.
Look
You know,
down
they
the
want to be
street.
like us,
Look down the street.
right?
I mean, how many times in just the last month have you had a conversation with someone, man, I don't know what's going to come in about country. But for or against, don't matter. I'm not saying either way. But notice the conversations we're having. It's talking about what happens if the conservative approach towards the state of change in a society. That's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. We don't know. But it's no. I know one thing. I think that after we die off, that's when, after we die off, because we got to go, that's when the new world of values are going to come in. And that's when you're going to start having a homeostasis within our society to start taking root again. But as long as we're here, 45 and above, we won't have this we won't have stability.
That's what I was going to say when he said
We're not
that.
gonna
You're going to have to wait another 30, 40 years. That's why they want it now. They don't have 30, 40 years.
I understand that.
You know, we got 20 and we want to keep living the way we are for
I
the next
understand
20.
that.
Once we're gone, I don't care if it
I
changes.
understand. I
But
understand.
the problem is that the way we've been living is part of the problem. That's why we have this heat wave and so on and so forth. So some things gotta change.
We'll see.
Some things gotta
We'll
change.
see.
But we're not going to be able to get to the last
We not,
word.
man. We
Yeah,
not.
we
You
are.
know what? You know
We
what?
not,
You know
man.
what? You know what? Let's save it for when these hearings are done.
Okay,
We talk about that word,
fair enough.
which is
Okay.
insurrection.
Fair enough.
Because
Fair
the
enough.
Let's
last
save
hearing
that
is going to
one.
be this Thursday.
Really?
Yeah,
That's what's up.
the last scheduled hearing is what
That's
I keep
what's
pretty
up.
what I
soon
keep seeing
they
the
should be-
media say.
That's what's
So they
up.
should be coming up with some
Good shot.
charges or whatever the fuck.
Good
Okay.
shot.
Because we really got to go and
Yes, sir.
you bring us
Good
out.
shot.
Yeah. Okay. So
Good conversation, brother.
Very good conversation,
brother.
man.
Good conversation.
all right. So just to remind y'all, don't forget about Banging 832 Radio. Again, Sundays they post up different episodes from our show, so please check that out.
7
But they-
o'clock.
But they have exactly 7 o'clock. But they already have some of their own content as far as the bee's knees.
If you're
But-
if you're from the 832, you need to be banging it.
You know what I'm saying? So represent for the H Town. Go check out Banging 832. Banging 83. It's banging832.com. That's right. Okay. And of course, Tamia's Touch of Care, massage therapy. This hope we can put as much effort towards your business as you do, because really, like
She's really helping us grow.
the sister is mad talented. You know,
Absolutely.
mad talented. Please, so
Absolutely.
make sure y'all check her out. And we have links for all of these things up on our website. So if you forget the name of a company or forget their website from the what you're seeing on the screen, please just go to www.thedailysmoke.com and all these links will be on there. Of course, the South Park Coalition 35th anniversary concert is coming up. Don't forget about that. September 10th, and that's going to be at the Scout Bar, 18307 Egret Bay Boulevard, 77058. So please check that out. You can get tickets at Eventbrite, and the time is going to be from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. So it's going to be a hell of a show. So please come check out South Park Coalition, man.
It's
Ooh,
H-Town.
you know what I'm saying? That's H
That's
Town.
home roots. H-Town got home roots.
I mean, what is it? The 35th anniversary, right?
Yes, sir.
Man, these brothers been at it for 35
Yeah,
years.
go watch that episode. You'll hear all about
Yeah,
it.
and we did an interview with K Reno and Myrtle One.
Absolutely. Thank y'all, brother.
Sure enough.
We appreciate it, man. So yeah, please, and as I said before, check out our website, www.dailysmoke.com. And if you want to donate, please hit up the Cash App, $TV Smoke. As always, we here at the Daily Smoke. We love y'all. We thank y'all for joining us. I'm your boy, Brother Jam.
Much love for your support, Brother Los.
Brother Ron here as usual. Running over ball out here. Y'all forgot about that, huh?
We going back to run up everybody.
Oh, Lord.
Run them all up out of here.
And we got Brother Blackhand on the cam. And thank y'all for joining us on the Daily Smoke. We love y'all. Peace.
Peace.